Minor Tensions by Dick Whistler. Many, if not most, of the unflattering events that have transpired in my adult life were a direct result of my pursuit of love, or more specifically, my pursuit of love-adjacent activities, such as holding hands, performing feats of the tongue, or, as so happened on one occasion, engaging in physical negotiation with more than one person other than myself in a stranger's basement in Aurora, Colorado, whilst navigating a ceaseless wave of fear ushering forth from my knowledge that there was indeed a boa constrictor on the loose somewhere in the house. But of all the unfortunate circumstances I've endured, the following is one of the most prominent of the painful memories that afflict me on a bi-weekly basis. It was early in the evening. I was keeping myself company at a bar across town when I made acquaintance with a young woman whose name I do not remember. I was not particularly attracted to her, but she was giving me attention, and that was enough for me. After 30 minutes of engaging conversation, the young woman said that she wanted me to meet her parents. I found it a rather premature expression given the newness of our relationship, but regardless, I told her I'd love to meet them. I would have said anything as long as it led to her taking me to her bed so that I might give her a premature offering of my own and then ask if I could stay at her place until morning. I was, after all, living in my car at the time. But little did I suspect, her parents were at that very bar that very evening. In fact, they were seated at the booth right behind me. So I accompanied the young woman to said nearby booth and conversed with her progenitors for yet another half hour. But it only took half that time to convince them that I was a suitable suitor for their precious daughter, whom I'm sure they hoped I'd soon wed. They were, after all, a lovely Christian family, and I am a charming devil. Eventually, the young woman took me back to her place, gave me a tour of her absent roommate's Casio keyboard, then led me upstairs to her room. She opened a window to let in the refreshing air of a cold front that had just moved in, and after 60 seconds of kissing, our hands started to explore. But the young woman stopped herself, and yours truly. She examined the deep recesses of my eyes, then shook her head and said, "You're not really in love with me." And that was the end of that. But she was kind enough to let me sleep at her place, by myself, on the floor, beside her bed. When I awoke, my head throbbed with something worse than a hangover. Apparently, overnight, I'd come down with a cold due to the damp and frigid air still streaming in through the open window. And that cold set forth a series of events that led to me getting a job at Starbucks, which was one of the worst things I'd ever experienced. And it all happened because I was down bad. Na 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 na. Baby, don't let yourself get down so bad that you get a job. Just keep it tucked in your waistband, my friend.